All right, thank you guys for joining once again. We've had a couple of weeks in court with Horry and in Georgetown doing some cases. Obviously, it's a little bit different, but for the most part, we have one judge in one courtroom doing a trial and then a judge in another courtroom doing pleas. So we want to be able to tell you about the good, the bad, and the ugly with this. This isn't a situation where we just line up. It's more for information purposes. We're not just trying to line up and tell you all of the good things. Anyway, on a very important case that we had, the lady's name's Irene Clodfelder. She was accused of burying her husband underneath her porch. She had charges, obstruction of justice out of Georgetown, and then accessory after the fact to a murder in Horry, basically because she had given a statement and said that she was an accessory after the fact to murder. At the time of the statement, obviously she didn't want to be charged with murder. So, and you've got a guy buried under your porch, so you gotta sort of explain that. She gave the explanation that somebody else did it and that she was trying to cover up for that somebody else. It put us in a spot, and we spent a good bit of time. I say we, the prosecutors along with the police, spent a good bit of time trying to figure out how best to charge this. And I've already gotten all of these questions. Well, why wasn't she charged with murder? Well, murder is killing of another with malice aforethought. And because the decedent was under the porch for anywhere from 6 months to 2 years, we could not say what jurisdiction had the authority to prosecute. They had homes and property in North Carolina, Georgetown, and Horry. So without being able to say where he was murdered, you can't have authority to go forward. This is a strange case, and she was up in age. I think she was in her 70s. So we charged her with exactly what she said she had done. Anyway, we had motions on Monday like we always do. We called witnesses Tuesday and Wednesday. State rested Thursday. The defense was prepared to go forward with 3 witnesses, but at the break between where the state rest, we believe we've proven our case, and the defense picks up. Always there is just like on a body, there's a belt between part 1 and part 2. That belt is called a motion for directed verdict. In every case that we have, the defense attorney asks for a directed verdict. Judge, I don't believe they've proven their case. 99 out of 100 times, the judge goes through the elements there and says, yes, they've proven it to the point that they need to for me. Now it's up to the jury. Well, yesterday, the judge accepted their directed verdict motion and said that there was not enough to go forward to a jury. So the jury never got to hear or decide on Irene Clodfelder. That was taken away by a directed verdict motion. We immediately got in touch with the Attorney General's office and the lawyers that usually represent us, and the Attorney General's office says, it's just what we suspected, but any other time when a person is given a conviction and the state wins, that person is given a conviction, a pad of paper and a pencil, and they write hundreds of appeals, and lawyers will write, and it goes on and on and on, and we'll talk about appeals one day. But when the state loses, the state can appeal, because as you've always heard, it's double jeopardy. The person has been found guilty or they've been found not guilty, and in terms of a directed verdict, the Attorney General's office is like, look, you've been successfully blocked from being able to appeal. The good news on that is she is still charged with obstruction of justice out of the Georgetown case, so we will go forward and try it on obstruction. So the charges that arose out of Horry that we got the directed verdict on, that was based upon her statement saying that, I buried him, the body being found in Horry. That's the accessory after the fact. That has been dealt with as a directed verdict. The charges out of Georgetown deal with incidents that took place in Georgetown. So we still have those charges, and we'll still go forward on the obstruction of justice charges in Georgetown. And that should be very quickly, since both of those happened at around the same time. In other news, we have had several cases of significance. This has become a, first one I'll tell you about is Lawrence Tafoya. He's 65-year-old male out of Murrells Inlet, which is in Georgetown. He pled guilty to sexual exploitation of a minor, and he received 10 years for that sentence. He'll also have to register on the sex registry. That is like owning or possessing child pornography. That's the generic terms for what we call it. In another case, these two individuals, these are connected, but one young man, 23-year-old, his name is Nasir Muhammad. Another young man, Jaquan Archie. Jaquan is 25, fairly young. Common incident, just firing guns, young people, and their use of guns, pretending like they're play toys, apparently. But anyway, it's injured quite a few people at a park at Sandpit in Georgetown. Mr. Archie is now serving 15 years for an ab hand that resulted out of that, and Muhammad is serving 10 years for an assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature, both resulting out of a park at Sandpit. A lot going on in the last couple of weeks. Those are a few of the cases. Some of them very good, some of them not so good, but we wanted to let you know about all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we will be back at a coming date. I think we've got a couple of weeks off, so we may talk about the appellate process. I get a bunch of questions about that. Have a great week. If you got tickets to the Country Music Fest, enjoy that. And we'll see you next week.